if you really want to understand what Sufism is all about, you first have to understand what Islam is all about. And so it goes back to, because as far as serious scholarship is concerned, Sufism begins where the rest of Islam begins, and that is with the revelation of the Quran to Muhammad. Basically, the Islamic tradition, like any religion, deals with three fundamental concerns. One is activity, how to act correctly. One is thought and understanding, how to comprehend the world, the universe correctly. And the third is transformation of the soul, how to become closer to the ultimate reality, which in Islam is God, or is called God. So as Islam develops over the centuries, around about the 3rd century, you start getting specialists in these three dimensions. Some of them are called jurists. They're the people who specialize in right activity, and they codify Islamic legal teachings. Some of them are called theologians and philosophers, and they specialize in codifying, or not codifying, but clarifying how we can think correctly and not make mistakes as we contemplate the world and ourselves. And some of them are called Sufis, and they're interested in the first two issues, of course, because the first two issues are foundational, but what they're really interested in is putting the first two issues, practice and understanding, to applying them to the human soul so we can transform ourselves and become closer to God. So a Sufi is someone who's striving to become close to God on the basis of Islamic teachings, specifically the model of the Prophet Muhammad. I think the worst misconception we have is that Sufism is not real Islam. It's something that was added on later. You know, when Muslims became tired of too much law, they turned to mysticism. This is total rubbish. In fact, anyone with any sense, any taste for, I would say, spiritual matters or philosophy or metaphysics can see Sufism in the Quran. It's very, very clearly the issues. That is love for God, transformation of the soul, the quest for perfection. All of these are present in the Quran and in the sayings of Muhammad and in the model of Muhammad, the most important mythic event in Islamic thought in terms of human perfection. After the descent of the Quran, because God sent the Quran, is the ascent of the Prophet Muhammad to the presence of God. This is the completion of the descent. Once God sends the message, the Prophet assimilated the message and then traveled up to God. That is, of course, an extremely important event, which historians will poo-poo it. Nonetheless, in the terms of the mythic understanding, the great big picture for Muslims, that is the culmination of the descent of the Quran. And that's what Sufis are modeling their activity on. They want to ascend to God in the footsteps of the Prophet.